Hello, everybody.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Lions Day. Look, this is a day that I have been waiting for at least 2 months. And it's going to
Hmm.
be a special kind of day. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to introduce our guest now, and then we'll do a little thing, and then we're gonna come back and do our real thing. Okay. All right. So look.
Okay.
First off, I want to introduce one of the brightest lights in my life, one of the ladies who just brings happiness, joy anytime I see her. The lady who have plugged in a lot of absences in my life, and I'm just totally and completely grateful to God for sending her to me. Now she got biological kids, but I'm older than them, so I'm the firstborn. And I want everybody to meet and greet my mama, sister, auntie, Miss Theresa Rodriguez King.
Hello,
Hi.
Teresa.
Hi.
And the crowd goes wild.
Welcome, welcome to the All the Way There podcast.
Thank you.
Next,
I'm glad to be here.
next is my brother. My brother, we think so much alike. My brother that always make me laugh. He always come with a smile. He got a joke in his pocket at all times. He got a lot of class, but you better not step on his grass because he will beat you. So anyway, Brad Williams is in the house.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Bradley. How are you?
Just wonderful.
Right.
So one of the one thing that they have in common is that they start tracing their roots. And they have wonderful stories because it's very tempted to give the story away, but I want them to tell it. But before we get into that, I want to ask you guys: is it cold enough for y'all? I mean, is it cold
Man,
enough?
Today is not too bad.
Yeah,
listen,
it's cold.
it's
It's
cold,
cold.
but I'm going to tell you, whenever you have 27 degrees and it feels like it's a heat wave,
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm.
Yeah.
with
because
her.
I was outside the other day, like, oh, I'm out there shoveling. I didn't even have my gloves on. I said, now you in Michigan if you can be outside without it was below, if even though it was 1 degree last week, it felt like it was like -15.
Yes, yes. I was out shoveling the snow, and my mustache smelled not smelled. It felt like porcupine needles. And I mean, I would just be doing this, and it would be standing straight up. So I was like, I got to get in the house.
Gotta
Now,
get in the house.
why I was shoveling snow with two sons, I don't know. Anyway, um, so look, I got a question to ask you guys, and I'm gonna actually do it with a scratch. But today we're gonna pay homage to the late great Marlena Shaw. She just passed away 2 days ago.
Oh, sorry to
One of
hear that.
one
Yeah.
of her greatest hits was 1977, "Go Away Little Boy,"
Okay.
originally recorded by Nancy Wilson.
Okay.
And of course, all good artists were on Blue Note Records. And Marlena Shaw was kind of like, Nancy Wilson, like really silky voice, and she was just the best. And I used to really get into her. So I cannot play her music for copyright reasons, but I can scratch her music, and that's
Well,
what we're gonna
scratch
do.
it.
So I'm gonna
Hit it, DJ.
ask you guys a question. Where are we going today?
We
All the
going
way
all the
there.
way there.
All the way there.
All the way there.
All the way there.
Give it to us, Aaron. Show them skills. She sounds like she have a little hip hop in there. We're going all the way there, guys. See you in a second.
Where are we going today? All the way there.
Hello. If you in Detroit, what up, though?
What up,
If you're
Doe?
professional, hello.
What up, Doe? That's how we greet each other in the D. So today's show is going to be a banger, and I can't wait to get into it. And I had to negotiate with Keela to not do an icebreaker so we can get right into it.
Yeah,
But
you did.
that means I got to come to her house and cook her some lasagna. So that's what's going to have to happen. And so private joke between us.
God is
Okay, so
listening.
no, look. Okay, so back in 1976, 77, Alex Haley came out with the book and subsequent TV series Roots, where he went all the way back to Africa when he did his roots finding and all that. And it was an interesting thing. By the way, this is a parenthetical thing. A lot of the characters that are in the book, like Chicken George, was not the same people that they put on the TV screen.
Okay.
Because Chicken George was a womanizer, and he had a bunch of different kids, but they cleaned him up when they made Ben Vereen play him on TV. Parenthetical, do what you want with that. But our guest today did almost the same thing with tremendous results.
Wow.
And we're gonna give them a time to share their stories one at a time. And so first, let's do ladies first.
Absolutely.
My mama, sister, auntie Theresa Rodriguez King. I'm so tempted to tell them what happened, but I want you to do it. The first question is, tell us a little bit about your childhood first, and how that evolved into your roots journey.
Nice. No. Well, I was raised by a single mom. She had 3 children. I was one of those. I have 2 half brothers. And
Where did you fall in
where did I fall in?
in those 3?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
I'm the oldest. And I never knew my father, but I was raised in a home where we learned about God, but so I always talked to the Father. And I remember even as a little girl, I would say, "You're the only father I know," like that. So
Aww.
I've been praying all my life, about a father. And then when I started school, I really realized, because other kids had their dad around and I didn't have a dad. So that kind of started my journey on, like, I really want to know who my father is.
Wow.
Wow.
So how long did you long to find your father? And so what did you do? Did you have a surrogate in the meantime, or how did that work for you?
There's never been a father in the natural for me, ever. And so I was really drawn to our Father because of that. And I used to pray about, finding out who my dad was.
Okay.
So, I mean, as I got older, I even, back then we didn't have the internet.
Right.
We had telephone books though. and my mother had told me a story, and it wasn't that the story wasn't true. It's that it was the story that she thought was true. And it was the story that she told me. And so she gave me a name, and I go to the phone book and I would call those, the names in the phone book. And there were a few of them, but to no avail. I spoke with people. I say, "I'm looking for my dad, and are you his brother? Are you him?" But it was heartbreaking, because I just wanted to know who I was. I wanted to know what my ethnicity was, because everybody always said, "Well, you're half something," but I don't know that. So yeah, it was difficult. It was really hard. It was really hard, but I never stopped praying about it.
So you told us a little off the grid that you had specialized interests that your brothers didn't have, and you stood out from everybody.
I stood out from my family that I was born into. I look different from the rest of my family. All my family is brown. My mom's brown, and even my mother kind of treated me a little different. I was like the black sheep of the family. It was really odd.
Wow.
But we had different friends. I had different interests. I dressed different from them. I had different mannerisms than them. Everything was different. And I didn't understand, why was I not like the rest? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow.
I have a picture of your mom.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, I
She
love
was
her
about
smile.
she's about 21 then. That's probably about the time she um, got pregnant with me, I would think.
Okay.
Okay. So when did it really start boiling with you? And I know you said even as a little kid you longed for that dad. When did it become like a mission for you? I have a dad somewhere, and I'm going to find him.
And I'm going to find it. Well, the thing of it is that it just seemed like it was so impossible for me
Mm.
because all I had was a name,
Mhm.
and I didn't have anything else. And in this world when there was no internet, it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I kept praying about it. And I told the Father, if Jesus' bloodline was important
Right.
for him, then my bloodline is important
Yeah.
too. And the word says that he will give us the desires of our heart if we diligently seek him.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I was constantly petitioning the Father. I said, I don't know how it could ever happen,
Mhm.
but I really, really, really would like to know, And
Mhm.
so I just kept on. And then um, ancestry. This was years ago,
Mhm.
before they had the DNA that they have now. You could send your spittle
Mhm.
in, but the only thing they could tell you is maybe like the regions from where your ancestor lived.
Right.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
was sub-Saharan African and different stuff, but I still didn't know anything.
Mhm.
But I've always had the desire, Aaron. I just have always had a burning desire to know who I was.
Wow. So what did ancestry? I mean, did you go through? Well, you went through a bunch of them.
Well, yes, I did.
Yeah.
So I did do that years ago, and they sent me a little disc, but it didn't really tell me anything. It didn't tell me the stuff that I wanted to know.
Mhm.
And so then a few years ago, back around 2016, a
Mm.
friend of mine said that she had done 23andMe.
Mhm.
But she did it because they give you all kinds of health stuff, different kind of health reports.
Mhm.
And so she said it really helped her, and she found out a lot of information about family. And I did 23andMe.
Mhm.
And then when I did 23andMe, I had also joined a group. It's on Facebook. It's called, I think it's DNA Detectives or something like that. And they said, the bigger the pond, the more fish. And
Mhm.
so I joined 23andMe. I joined Ancestry.
Mhm.
And I joined another one called Family Tree DNA.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I figured maybe there's
You, you
somebody.
you cast a really big net.
Right. I
Yeah.
cast a really big net.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where I hit gold.
So tell
Mhm.
us about that gold. When did God give you the desire of your heart, and tell us how it happened?
Well, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and I was constantly on there every day just looking, to see if there were anything coming up. And then eventually what came up was it looked like two second cousins on
Mm.
23andMe.
Mhm.
And they looked Caucasian, and
Mhm.
their names were Anglo-Saxon names,
Okay.
And so I was trying to figure out who these people were, but I said, I'm going to reach out to one of them. And I did. I reached out to one, and she says, well, I don't, I was telling her, my story. She didn't know the name that I had,
Mhm.
and she said, I don't know anything about the DNA, but I've got two aunts, and one of them is really into it,
Mhm.
which is the reason why a lot of my father's family was in there, because she was doing stuff.
Okay.
Oh.
So
Nice.
she got me in contact with two of her aunts, which were my cousins,
Okay.
Okay.
my first cousins. And so we were all trying to figure out, what was the connection. And it took time. Then I went to Ancestry, and all of them were in Ancestry.
Wow.
My aunt, my brother, my father's sister was in Ancestry.
Wow.
So, yeah, yeah.
So all that time that you were longing and you were looking for your dad, God's on the other end preparing for you to meet these people.
Look, to me, I feel like he created this map of DNA just to answer my prayer, and a whole lot of other people are going to benefit from it. That's how I see
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah.
see it. Yeah, yeah.
So you met your aunts,
Melanie,
and then how did that lead you to the ultimate prize?
But first of all, I met all these first cousins, So, but still didn't know who my father was. And so there was 4 brothers, and I had linked up through DNA from all of their children. So, but one of them had to be my father. So the short story is 3 brothers, I DNA matched with their children as first cousins. But then there was this one brother who didn't have any children. And they had said that he was sterile, that, he couldn't have children. And we started putting the DNA together, and my husband, who's a physician, really helped me a lot on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he helped me a lot. And come to find out, this one brother had traveled to Michigan, because all of them are in Texas.
Ah.
And he had traveled to Michigan. He was a musician, so he traveled with bands. He had his own orchestra. He played with Desi Arnaz.
I was going to say Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah. And so while he was here, apparently he met my mom. He was here for just a little bit of time because he's from Texas and it was too cold here for him. And he left. And when he left, he didn't know, nor my mother knew, that she was pregnant at the time.
Oh, so
Wow.
your dad came to Michigan, sang Babalu. This chocolate sister was like, that brother fine. And
They hooked up,
And here you go.
and that's what it was.
So they call me the miracle baby.
Oh, really?
They call me the miracle baby. That's what their family calls me. And they were so open and so loving to me, And I think it's because they didn't just love my father, they really liked him, And because they really liked him, they really wanted to know this child that he had.
Yeah. So did they know anything about you prior to you finding them?
No, nobody knew anything.
Wow.
No.
So you have to have this believability factor even when you meet them. But I'll tell you, it was not a stretch. It was not a stretch. So I don't know. Tell us about that first. Okay.
In one moment, I'll be able to ask a question.
Oh,
but
sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
Finish.
go ahead.
I mean, I did want to ask her something.
Ask it. Yeah.
Ask it.
Sorry. I've been like doing the double dutch. Like,
I just thought you had to use the bathroom.
no.
Okay, go ahead.
But Theresa, I do want to ask this one question because I know you said you had the Father, the Heavenly Father, who was guiding you.
Okay.
But as time is going on, like I've gotten to know you, and I didn't obviously know you when you were younger, but you have this sweet spirit. Like, how do you carry that? Like, sometimes you meet people and they don't know their father, and they have a lot of bitterness. They carry a lot of anger. How did you subside that, or did you ever have any of those go through any of that?
Yeah, I was never discouraged.
Okay.
There were times when maybe I was disappointed because it didn't look like it was going to happen or anything. But I'm telling you, the key for me was that I really stayed in this conversation, this petitioning to the Father, to the point where I told him that as much as I want this, because I talked to him like I'm talking to you guys, and I told him, as much as I want this, if it doesn't happen, you're still enough, And so therefore that way I couldn't, it wasn't going to take me down, so yeah.
That's what's up. That's awesome.
So can I
Yes, sir. You may have the floor.
So we're gonna play your first meeting with your family, and you'll be able to narrate this. So let's hear.
I'll be able to narrate it during it or afterwards?
During it.
Okay.
So tell us what's happening.
Will she be able to talk during it?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
If we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, we sure will.
Okay.
Okay. And
get out of there.
How are you?
Hello.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hi, they're out in the car.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, this is my husband, Kyle.
Kyle, how are you? I'm
This is my cousin.
Pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet
Yes,
you.
sir.
Welcome to No Snow.
No, it's not, but you know what? I had open-toe shoes that
Oh,
Beautiful.
Now who
Beautiful.
was that?
so yeah, what Aaron just asked.
That is my father's sister's son, my first cousin.
Oh
The
wow.
one that's still living, the one that's 101.
Yes.
That's her son. That's her son. And the way I got there was when we DNA matched and everything, we were like texting each other and talking and everything. And then he said, your aunt is turning 95. This is when she turned 95. And he says, and I'm throwing her a party. You should come, and all of your family is going to be in one place.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Theresa's so 95. She was 95 at the time, which means that you were much older when you finally met her with your family. God,
I was 64.
God, look at God.
You know what? And all this time, that's why I'm saying if anybody's out there and they're looking, they should never, ever give up. Never give up. I've been looking all my life, you know.
Yeah. Wow. So that from that meeting, now it's important to say you found your father, but he had since passed away.
Yes, my dad, he passed away in 2003. And that meeting that you just saw in this video, right after that, they took me directly to the memorial cemetery so I could see his tombstone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
You that connection right there. And even though you guys didn't meet in the flesh, there was a connection right there. And
Yes.
that ended that longing that you wanted, and that desire of your heart was met.
Yes. Yes. The void then was filled.
Right.
The void was filled. I knew who I was. I knew my ethnicity. I knew who I looked like, all of that, you know, and it's been absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Miss Graham says, did you ever get frustrated during the process?
I never got frustrated. I never got frustrated because I was just relying on God. And like I said, if he didn't allow it, there was a reason for it, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, I was never frustrated.
So you said you know who you look like. Shut up, you do that. She said you know who you look like. So we want to show you guys how perfectly God did this, because just show the picture.
First of all, I was like, OMG. I know Theresa probably like, it's my family. Why y'all geek? But listen, guys, listen to this.
She looks exactly like that man.
Absolutely.
We're about the same age.
Yeah.
He could never deny her.
Wow.
Like, ever. Like, you guys are splitting images of each other.
That's spot on. So afterwards, Theresa, I remember when you first went to that trip and you came back and you said, Aaron, can you put me and my dad in a picture together? And I said, oh yeah, I'll be honored to. I'm just coming in green, but it meant the world to you. And after I was done, you were just floored. And
everything. It was unbelievable because it was almost like I was there with him, you know. And
it's so sweet.
Yeah, and at this point, he's probably like about 84, you know, something like that. Yeah. So I think even there, I look like him.
Yes,
you
do look like him.
Yeah.
And if you were to show that picture to anybody, they would think, "Oh, well, yeah, your dad. You know, you guys were. When was this?" And
that's what I was thinking.
You did a good job.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to tell me that. But anyway,
let's show this one picture. Look, you know I love old pictures. I love old pictures. Theresa, tell us about this one.
Oh, now this picture right here, the lady that's on the far left,
Okay.
that is my aunt Elia, and she is 101 years old. She's still living. And next to her is my aunt Minerva. She has passed away. She died at a young age when she was in her 40s.
Okay.
The short gentleman in the middle, that's my grandfather. His name is Juan Rodriguez.
Okay.
And next to him is my Uncle Roger.
Okay.
And then there is my Uncle Salvador. And second from the end is my father, Roberto Cruz Rodriguez.
Okay.
And on the end is the youngest brother, which is my uncle, and his name is also Juan, but they called him John.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So when you first started this, did you have any inkling that you was a Latina?
People used to always ask me, but I didn't know. I didn't know if I was, I didn't know.
Okay.
I had no clue. But there's so many things. I always bought like CDs by Latin artists
Okay.
in Spanish. And I didn't understand Spanish, but that's what I like to listen to.
Yeah.
So that was your connect, and didn't even know that was your connect.
That was it. Yeah.
Wow.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
We have one other photo that I would love to show.
Yeah, so that's my aunt, the one that was in the picture that you just showed. She's the little one in the front on the right, and she's 101 now. And the gentleman that's at her shoulder is my cousin, who I first met when we were on that video.
Right.
That's him. And then, of course, that's my husband behind me. And the lady in the pink is my cousin's wife.
Okay.
Yolanda, and those are their children.
Okay.
Yeah.
The baby's so cute.
Wow,
Aw,
Theresa.
that's
So you had
nice.
quite a journey.
And I've been going every chance I get, I'm going back. Every year, once or twice a year, I'm going back.
Wow.
I don't take it for granted because I'm gonna say this real quickly. I never felt like I had a family. I always, even though I had two half brothers, I always kind of felt like I was an only child. I kind of felt alienated, but they have like just enveloped me, and I feel like I grew up with them, and I was the one that moved away.
Yeah.
And when I go home, they're excited to see me, and I'm excited to see them too. Oh, did I say I go home? I just called Texas home.
I know. Well, it's home. It feels like home, and that's
It
all.
does feel like home.
Yeah, that's got to be the greatest feeling. I was going to ask you, how did you describe that feeling? But you just said it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gratitude. I am so
When
grateful.
I
I am
think of
so grateful to
home,
the Father for what He's
I
done
think
for
of a
me.
place.
Wow. So
That is
one
so
last
beautiful.
question. We got to get Mr. Brad into the situation. How does your children up in Michigan connect with this situation?
Well, they haven't been to Texas yet, and all the Rodriguezes and my kids, they're friends on Facebook. So that's kind of been the extent of it. But we're hoping to get them to Texas soon.
Oh, okay.
And it's easier for me to go to Texas as one person than for get them to come here. But I'm gonna say this real quickly. I changed my name to Rodriguez. I changed my maiden name, which was Robinson, to Rodriguez because the enemy tried to steal that from me. And it's my birthright to have my name. So I talked to them about it. I told them what I wanted to do, and
I like how you put that.
Yeah, that is excellent.
You took your father's name.
Yes,
man, and you sacrificed the Lions game to bring us this joy. So you
I
really
did, didn't I?
Both of them.
So real quick before we go to Brad, let's read Miss Graham's because Caroline Fair says she loves you, Brad. But Miss Graham says, amazing. The judge would hit the gavel and say, case closed without discussion. I'm so happy for you. You look just like him.
Amen.
And then Val Martin says, beautiful.
So Brad, switching over to Mr. Brad, who has a kind of similar situation, but equal joy. I'm going to ask you the same questions. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Well, I've had the greatest dad and mom in the world.
Aw.
Eugene Williams and Patricia Williams, they are the ones who adopted me when I was 9 months old.
Okay.
Mhm.
Aw.
And I'm fifth generation Church of God in Christ.
Mhm.
That's my dad and my mom. Those are my world right there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Who I am is because of them.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm an ordained elder in the Church of God in Christ. My church is Greater Mitchell Temple, Church of God in Christ. My pastor and bishop is Bishop Ethan Blake Sheard. I am the father of 3 wonderful boys and a beautiful, gorgeous daughter. I'm married to my darling wife, Kina, of 25 years.
Mhm.
Awesomeness.
And I have,
Okay.
I was at their wedding, so I know.
yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
So how did you know you were adopted when you were little?
Not when I was little, to about maybe teenage years, maybe 12 or 13.
Mhm.
You know, my dad and mom told me that being a 12 or 13-year-old boy kind of took it different. You know, not that I was lacking anything, because I never was with my dad and mom, but it felt kind of weird. You know, what do you mean I was adopted? So I felt like I was thrown away, but not thrown away.
Right, right.
But back then it was 1965, so it was a whole different world,
Mhm.
different era. So
Yeah.
as I got older, I'm gonna fast forward to when I was became a father for the first time, watching my kids born. I
Mhm.
felt some kind of way, to be honest with you, a little anger, a little bitterness.
Mm.
But again, it being a different time, it was nothing that could be done.
Mhm.
And so when my boys got older, they were always after me about, Dad, you should find out who your parents are, just for health reasons.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we know because I didn't know what was going on. Back
Right.
then, all I knew that my parents were 16. That was it. That's all
Okay.
I
They were
had.
16 when they had
16
you?
years old. 16. Yes, sir.
Okay.
16.
Mhm. Wow. So what compelled you to start a journey to find them, and how did you do it?
Again, it wasn't me. It
Mhm.
was my kids and my son, Ryan Williams.
Mhm.
This is all his work. And he spearheaded the whole campaign.
Really?
Nice.
He
Nice.
did. He's like, Pop, I want to do this. I really want to figure out what's going on. I
Mhm.
said, so I gave in,
Mhm.
peer pressure, I guess, so I said, go for it. So it took about a year. He hit the ground running. He was digging. So last September, he was like, I think we got a hit. I was like,
Mm.
okay,
Mm.
that's
Wait,
fine.
you got a hit on what?
On the Ancestry. I'm sorry, Ancestry.com.
Okay.
If I get ahead of you, Rand, you know how to reel me in.
Yeah, I didn't know if you was talking about the lottery or not, but go ahead.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
I meant to shake them up like that, but go ahead.
My church is watching. Shut. Just kidding, y'all. Just kidding. But he said he reached out to Ray Jr., which
Mhm.
turned out to be second cousin of Ryan's. He said,
Mhm.
we might be related. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. He said, well, they're having a family picnic on this Sunday. Now, I'm in church on Sunday.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So me being me, I said, well, we'll be out by 12:30. We'll swing by. We got the Southfield Park over there off
Mhm.
Evergreen. He said, well, they might be gone. So I talked to him with my pastor and my bishop. He said, man, just go.
Mhm.
So I skipped church that day. We went, and so Ray Jr. and I are talking. He said, well, I think you may be related on my dad's side. I was like, okay, not knowing nothing still, because all I got is they were 16. I mean,
Okay.
that's all I had, because the adoption agency is not even there anymore.
You're right. Got you.
Okay. And so let me back up to a couple of years. So the one time I did try to figure out who my parents were, they sent me some forms this thick in the envelope to fill out. This thick.
Mm.
Wow.
And they told me so dry, well, Mr. Williams, there's no promises. If they don't want you to know nothing, there's nothing we can do about it.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I threw it in the trash.
Wow.
Honestly, I just threw it in the trash.
Mhm.
Then fast forward 20-something years later, we're in Southfield Park, and Ray and I are talking. So he said, well, you might be related on my dad's side. I said, okay, well, again, this is what I got. So his mother Carolyn Flair walks up to us, so nice and so innocent, and she says, "Well, Brad, how old are you?"
Mhm.
I said, "Well, I'm 58 years old." She's so cool with it. She said, "I have a brother who has a son he's never seen."
Wow.
And so now I have my family with me. I have Keena there, Caitlin's there, and Ryan, his wife, are there. So I'm like, okay.
Wait, how does Carolyn come into the Carolyn Fair? She was at this picnic.
At the picnic, it's a family picnic.
Okay, all right.
It turned out it's Ray's mom.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, no big deal. So she goes, well, then she let me tell you something. She broke the whole story down, 58 years in 2 minutes.
Wow.
2 minutes. She said it was 1965. She said my brother was dating a friend of ours. Her name was Priscilla.
Mhm.
We lived over in Northwest Detroit. They were kids. They got together, and turns out that Priscilla got pregnant. And being at the time it was, she couldn't keep you.
Mhm.
Because let me just show you a picture of David. So I said, okay. Let me know.
Picture.
And so
I'm gonna show. Which picture am I showing?
you got the one with him sitting down with his legs crossed, or the one with him not standing next to each other. The one
You
with
and your dad.
yeah. Now the
Let me
picture with his legs crossed is the first picture I saw of him.
Okay, I sent it. I have this.
Well, that's at the dinner. That's okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's. I only have the picture of you. That's what we have of you and your dad.
okay. So when we saw the picture, my son Ryan was like, "Pop, that's you," all day long.
Mhm.
And so he had kind of a stern look on his face, and my son was like, "You know how many times you looked at me like that? That's you." And so Keenan's like, "Well, it's kind of, I'm like, all right." Now inside, I'm tripping.
Okay.
I'm freaking out. I'm just trying to be cool. And so then she introduces me to my her husband, my Uncle Ray Sr.
Mhm.
And we're talking, and all her sisters come, and everybody's telling me the same story.
Mhm.
He said, "Well, why don't we just wait, and get a DNA test before we get too hooked?" By then, I'm hooked already.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
family was so accommodating and so loving off the rip,
Aw.
Mhm.
because we don't know each other at all.
Right. Right.
I mean, from the start, they were so loving. I fell in love with them instantly.
Wow.
And
Nice.
to me, I made up, it was in my mind, this don't work out, it don't matter.
Mhm.
So
You
so this you met your biological dad as a result of Miss Caroline
Right.
saying, "I got a brother."
Yep.
So you didn't meet him at the picnic.
No, he wasn't there at the picnic. That
Okay, you
picnic
met
was at
him
dinner.
subsequently, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So once you start talking to your dad, you found out some more information.
Well, I was talking to my aunt.
Okay.
She had all the information.
Okay. And that's Miss Caroline.
That's Miss Caroline.
Everybody got an aunt just like that.
Yeah.
She's sweet as
So-
pie and cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, but you need those people because they always know the family stuff, and
She
you
got
can
it.
go to that person and that one person in the family that can get you to everybody.
Yeah.
She is the one, after Ryan did his part, she took over and she connected all the dots and everything, And so he said, "Why don't we just get a DNA test, and we can figure this out?" I said, "Okay." So a week goes by, and I go get the DNA test from him. Then of course we have to wait another week or so, and it came back 99.9%.
Wow.
That was your dad.
You
Look
couldn't have
at
been on more
God.
reporters when it came out like that. So
Wow.
now, for me, I'm obsessed with finding who my mother is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I got to find her.
Mhm.
So my Aunt Caroline said, "Well, we have some cousins. She has some cousins here in Detroit still. Let me reach out to them, And so I said, okay, cool. So I just sat back again, and about a week go by. She tells me, "I gave your number out to some relatives. So if your phone rings, you don't know it, answer it."
Mm-hmm.
Piece of cake. This is a Friday night, and somebody calls my phone. He says, "I heard you're looking for some more relatives." I said, "I am." He said, "Well, I'm your mother's first cousin because my birth mother, is the only child."
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, my name is Alvin, and And he told me I have a sister, I have 2 sisters, and I have 2 brothers,
Mm-hmm.
blood brothers. He said, I'm gonna give your number to Wendy, and she's gonna call you. All right, Sunday morning comes, he said, I gave your number to Wendy. He said, you can come by my house and we can talk. So I went before church.
Mm-hmm.
And he lives on Chippewa. He's 5 minutes from my church.
Wow.
5 minutes, Chippewa, 8 miles.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
So I go to hold on. Will you stop? Anyway, the game.
Sorry.
Yeah, they scored. They scored. Yeah.
So I go to his house, and the street doesn't go all the way through. So I had to turn around and come back. So when I turned around, he was outside, and he said, "You look just like your mother."
Wow.
Didn't say
And
hi or nothing. He said,
he already knew.
"He already knew it." He said, "I said, do you have any pictures?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, come inside." So I stood by the porch, so he showed me some pictures of my sister Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
and my twin brothers, and my other sister. And so I said, I really would like a picture of my mom. That's what I really want. He said, well, I can't find one yet. There's my girl.
You look just like
your
her.
mom. You look just like your mother.
And
so she had. Oh, wait, who had the twin brothers? Your dad had the twins, or your mom had the twins?
My mom had the twin brother.
And so
Jamar.
You also have twins that came out of you.
No. No,
I'm not talking about your sons, but your sons had twins.
Yeah.
So
Ryan has twins.
Family.
Aiden and Evan.
Right.
The family joke is, that always have been, that I didn't know what was going on inside my body. I didn't know who was what, and they always say, "Well, you don't know who you got in your family. You don't know what's what." I said,
Right.
"Well, twins running my family because I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Behold, I got a set of brothers.
You got a set of. That's what's up. That is awesome.
And so he said, "Okay." So Sunday afternoon, I get a phone call. It's my sister on the phone, Wendy. And she told me that our mother never stopped talking about you when she raised us. Never.
Wow, really?
She said she never talked. She always talked about you. She always looked. I had a sister that passed when she was 19. And she said she stopped looking for you then, but she always talked about you. And so, she's crying, and I'm about to cry. And, I can't cry because Kate was trying to take a picture of me crying.
Wait,
my kids are.
This is on the phone, or was this on a Zoom?
This is on the phone before the Zoom.
Okay.
So she goes, "Let me call you back." So she hangs up the phone. And so Wendy calls me right back. My mom is on the phone.
Wow.
Just like that.
Just like that. And so then we went to the Zoom.
Oh.
Okay.
And that's where that picture is when I first saw her.
That's when she's trying to catch you crying.
Oh, she was trying her best.
Brad,
wow.
I would want to cry from this picture.
Even the dog is like, "What? That's your mama?"
Yeah, he's like, "What's your problem?"
So describe that feeling when you laid eyes on your mama for the first time.
It was overwhelming.
Wow. What's your mom's name?
Her name is Priscilla.
Priscilla
Webster.
Miss Priscilla Webster, on behalf of the All the Way There podcast, we want to thank you for giving us this brother right here, because he is a gift to the world. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, sir, too. But keep going.
You got to hear your friends over here talking about the both of them.
Okay, so you went to see your mom.
I did. So I decided then that we were going to take a road trip. Now, you know me. I drive for a living, so I don't do long road trips.
Right.
Anything over 3 hours, I'm on a plane.
Right.
She lives in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And it was the week of Thanksgiving, so we ended up driving. So we took 2 cars down there.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Keena, Caitlin, Brandon and his godson in one car, and Ryan and his family in another, because Eric couldn't make the trip because it was so short notice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's how many of them is it? 5 of them? It's 5 of Eric, so we made the trip. 6 of them, yeah.
Okay. So you went down there for Thanksgiving,
Yes, sir.
right? And when you got down there for Thanksgiving, your wife, just like Theresa's footage, gave us some of the best footage of that reunion. So,
Yes.
and now it's your turn to cry. So let's let's show
Here it go.
let's show Brett.
Oh my Oh my goodness. Twins? I mean, y'all gotta be twins.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
man.
great. You guys look just alike.
Yeah, yeah. Describe that feeling that you just got to touch your mama.
It was just so overwhelming. You know, it just thought she was gonna be taller. But it's okay. Yeah, it was just man, she's a phenomenal lady.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
it's just
Miss Graham says these stories are so amazing. I thank you both for sharing your life with us. So, Brad, how did your adoptive parents
well,
feel
see,
about all of this?
let me start with me. You know, so after all this kind of settled, I kind of felt like I was cheating, if you will.
Mhm.
I did.
Mhm.
You know,
I can see that.
my mom was as happy. She cried when I told her. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I had to talk to my dad, who I love him so much. You know, I had to tell him. I said, "Listen, you two are irreplaceable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nobody in the world can take you from you. Nobody can. You're the reason who and what I am." I told my
Right.
dad, I need you to know this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything happens for a reason. This is God's timing. You know, because I wasn't looking for this.
Absolutely.
I wasn't looking for this at all. You know, and then most of the people at my church and people are close to me know that I'm good where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've always been good where I'm at. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't. And I told her, we talked on the Zoom for a couple hours, and I called my mom the next day because I wanted to talk to her by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I can't call you by your first name.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raised like that.
Right.
I said, I know this is a whole lot at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get it, but I have to call you mom because one of my pet peeves is when we're grown children call their parents by their first name. That's just me.
Yeah. Me too.
I'll be 59 this March, and my mom and dad are still mom and dad.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they always.
I'll be 31 this March too, so I understand.
Boy, they might just be rolling.
Right.
Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, but you know that's who I am.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to put her at ease and say, listen, whatever happened back then happened. We're here now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And all I want is a relationship with you. That's it.
That is so beautiful.
Man. So how's this stand now? How often do you talk to mom and dad now? And
I talked
so
to her.
That was the only meeting Thanksgiving. Have you been back since?
To North Carolina?
Mm.
Yeah, no. She's coming here in April, so we're excited. You know,
Okay.
she's gonna see some friends.
That's
She
gonna
hasn't
be
seen.
nice.
Yeah, she's gonna be here a whole week. You know, she said she's gonna see some friends that she hasn't seen in 30 years.
That's right, because she's from here.
Yep, she's from here originally, so they think they're gonna monopolize her time. They're crazy. They ain't met you.
So Nikki says, I love all of this. A wonderful testament to God's love. Both are beautiful stories with wonderful endings. I'm so happy for you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Man.
I check on my dad. He lives with my Aunt Carolyn. You know, I go check. I'm due for a visit. I tried calling this weekend, they're pretty busy, so I'm gonna definitely reach out to them this week. Go see them, sit with them for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now you have Theresa met the other side, the other half of her parents, which was somewhat of a closure. I guess it is a closure for her, and you got two sets of parents.
Yes.
So you being a kid who grew up and noticed something different and felt some type of way, got blessed with two sets of parents. Does that bring you closure to that young man who felt dismayed?
Oh yeah, out? Years ago. Done. You know, and I've inherited an extra 100 or so people.
Mhm.
I kid you
100?
not, at least 100. I kid you not. My
Really?
cousins Ray and Ronaldo, all those guys down there, Detroit Boat Life, man. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a bunch of
I
us.
love it.
It's a bunch, man.
So, Brad, this Zoom call, this is with everybody on the line here.
That's it. Yep, that's us. So that's
Wow.
Ryan with the braids, with his head down. Eric's the youngest. He's in the middle, and Brandon, who looks like Jebediah, is on the far right.
I love it. I love it. And then we had the one picture here because we had to share this one.
That's it.
Oh man.
That's your twin. That's
Yeah,
your twin.
that's my heart. She knows it.
Yeah.
She doesn't have Facebook, so I had to send her a link.
Mm.
I said, get one of your spiritual daughters to show you how to hook up to YouTube or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
That's
is beautiful.
excellent.
That's a beautiful story.
Wow. So when did your mom move to North Carolina? Shortly after she had you, or how does that work?
You know what, Ray? I'm not sure because she met her. She met her husband while they were out there, Jehovah's Witness. So they went out witnessing. That's what she met. Then he moved her. So I would say, let's say 30 years ago, something like that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
for 20 years, she was around you in Detroit.
Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think about it, you know.
Wow.
I could be wrong or so, but
You know what I love about both of these stories, because I know people always say that, you know, people go astray or they're bitter or they're this. Both of you have very successful lives. And I'm not saying that that fills the void, but you still went on in spite of. And I know you have some people that stay stuck. So I think that it's beautifully encouraging for people who may be in a rut, and it's like keep going. You might want to find your family, and life doesn't stop, but stay prayerful. I
Mhm.
like that you guys kind of put that out in the air, and that you still can be successful in life. Some people
Yeah.
really get downtrodden because they feel that missing link.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys life is life in, not in a negative way, but in a good
Right.
way. You know what I mean?
well,
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
you know, my children have been a good, and my wife have really been supportive through all this, even when I had an attitude about it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, until up until this point, you know.
Mhm. And so, what would you guys encourage people to do the whole ancestry? I'm sure you would. And do you know of a app that would send current siblings away? Because I need to send some. Okay. So what would you say to people who are contemplating doing what you guys did so successfully?
Ladies first.
Well, I'll say this is that is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I even gave an ancestry kit to a friend of mine as a gift.
Hmm.
It was something that she had always wanted to do in her heart, but wasn't really going to act on it. And she's learned some information about her family. It's just that don't give up. I tell you, it is rewarding, because all of my life I felt illegitimate. My mother never married, and I've always felt illegitimate. On my birth certificate, where it said father, it said unknown, you know?
Wow.
And so, but now my mother still never, or my mom's gone now, but my mom still never married. But you know what? I'm not illegitimate anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I changed my name, I have a new birth certificate.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that anybody who feels like there is no like it seems impossible,
Mhm.
nothing is impossible with God.
I
Wow.
love it. I
I
love
love
it.
that too. Brad, what would you say, sir?
I would say don't give up. If this is something that you want, you know, be open minded, be okay if they're the people that you contact who don't want to be with you, because they're the ones missing out, not you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
You're the prize. Okay.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Don't ever be down on yourself to something you had no control over.
Yeah.
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 And that's something I had to learn. You know?
Mhm.
That's good advice. That's really good advice.
Wow. So when your mom comes here in April, you got this whole thing planned out.
Oh yeah, they got a big thing going on. You know, my
Yeah.
aunt Carolyn, she's on task, man.
So let me ask you this: when you were adopted, you were an only child.
Yep, for about nine
Oh,
years, and I have a sister too that was
that's
adopted.
right. Oh,
Yep.
she was adopted as well.
Yes, sir.
So are you
Yes.
encouraging her to do the same kind of thing?
She did it years ago.
Hmm.
Years ago when we were younger teenagers, and it just didn't work out well for her.
Oh, okay. But that's a testament to your adoptive parents that
And
you know
yes.
they really want you guys to know where you came from.
Yeah, they never kept anything secret, man.
Yeah.
It didn't.
And
Yeah.
then just giving back too, because just making sure that they provide a wonderful upbringing for a child. Has to be spoken for too.
Yeah. And
That's
because
commendable.
yes, because Ricky Ricardo came to Michigan, I got the greatest aunt in the world.
I know. I love Theresa.
Man, the greatest one in the
She's a
world.
joy.
I mean, the same hand that will hug you will turn it back around and say, "What?" But
You-
I love that about her, and I'm just so grateful for Ricky Ricardo. And then your mom, and your dad brought you here, Brad. I mean, Brad is one of those neighbors that will just do anything for you. He'll come down and help you do your yard, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I'll be right back. My wife calling." Whenever his wife called, though, he gone. But he's one of those brothers that always help out, and I'm just grateful to know you guys, and I'm so grateful that two of my premium people in my life have the same story,
yes.
and so that is amazing. That is amazing. So we always this hour has come and just about gone. So what
Yes.
we do at the end of the show, and it's not really a show, we want to give you guys 5 minutes to say, or not 5 minutes, like
No.
about 30
Like
seconds.
25
Yeah,
seconds.
30 seconds to give people who are I know you gave the contemplator, but just tell us what this means from now on. It's like, is this do you think that the family that you found now is it, or do you want to find out where they came from now?
I'm good. This is
I'm
it.
good too. I'm good. The void has been filled. I'm good.
Okay, okay. So we're gonna
love
hit
it.
you guys with a challenge out there. I challenge you guys to love the family that you are with. Love the family that you know now.
For sure.
And if you find yourself in a position where you are, well, Theresa and Brad were, where you have a missing person, step out on faith and try this and see if you can connect with some people that you don't know, and it could bring some positive results, because it definitely did for them. And
Absolutely.
so I encourage you to kind of step out on faith, and you may get the positive results that they got. So that's the challenge. If you don't have that missing person, love that family that you're with, because you never know what these people are going through these days.
And I do want to reiterate on what Brad said. Even if it is not the positive outcome like they receive, just don't allow yourself to get soaked up in that. You are still the prize. You still have a purpose.
Yeah,
Don't stop there. That was
Right.
wonderful advice.
right. And you might run into somebody and say, "Hey, what's up, cousin? Let me have $1." But but at least you know that's your cousin.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Kinfolk.
Right.
So everybody have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you, Brad, for giving up the Lions game to be here with us. And everybody have a wonderful Sunday.
2 fingers.
See y'all later.